What's up, guys? Charles from Team COG here. Coming at you guys here with my Infernoble deck profile. I ended up taking this locals the other night and going undefeated. The deck is performed phenomenally. It's not the Flame Swordsman variant that I recently showed on the channel. However, I've gone back to the boxers and are utilizing an XYZ package, which I was told to by some of the comment section. And at first I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. But then I ended up trying it out and I actually really enjoy it and see a lot of utility. And I actually really like it. And I'll go into detail on why I personally prefer the boxers over the Flame Swordsman. Even though the Flame Swordsman's like aesthetically work better or look better with the deck, I think that what the boxers do is just tremendously better. But yeah, when we end up going undefeated, end up winning some of these awesome pins here. Huge shout out to my locals to allow me to compete there and all that fine stuff. And huge shout out to my man Kayla for talking me into actually going, because I wasn't really going to go, but he talked me into it. But anyway, guys, I have a 44 card deck list here, and before you guys are like,
ugh, brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
allow me to explain. I did some mathematics probability, watched the Kali effect. The Kali effect pro showed his own mathematics and probability. I've done this on stream to show you that 44 cards and 44 to 45 cards lower your chance to see your one of bricks, which there's only 2 bricks that we really don't want to see. And yeah, so for the most part, we just wanted to like not see that. So you have a 20.97% chance to open one of the bricks that you have, and then you have a 22% chance to see both of them. So if you happen to see both of them, you're very unlucky, which has happened to me. So like luck, you know, if we didn't have any bad luck, we'd have no luck here at Team COG. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into the deck profile. But please remember, if you guys want to help support the channel, ding that notification bell, hit that subscribe button, and also become a member if you want to support the channel directly, get knighted. And today, the deck profile is organized in the form of engine than non-engine, and I figured that'd be easier to go. And I'll be able to show you and talk to you a little bit more about like choices and stuff like that. So anyway, enough rambling. Been going on for about 2 minutes, 2 minutes of rambling here. So let's just jump into the profile. To start out with, we are onto the boxer package, which is 3 Battle and Boxer Uppercutter and 1 Battle and Boxer Spar. So the really cool thing about Spar and Uppercutter here is this is a 1-card combo. 1 Uppercutter gets you full combo multiple different ways. If you want to play more bricks, more different engines, like Uppercutter can do it. Spar is really cool because Spar is like a non-once per turn special summon. We do get a little bit punished here by the Mulcharm, but you guys have not checked out that video of how I whooped 4 hand traps. We were able to play underneath the Mulcharmy, but we still give them a lot of draws because we were summoning Renaud and Spar from our hands. So we give them at least a minimum of 4 draws in that 4 instance, which really sucks, but it is what it is. It's, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh. But something to talk about is, so the combo that Uppercutter gets you can be utilized in like multiple 2-card variations, such as like Durandal Ricciardetto, Durandal Flint Lady, so on and so forth. Durandal plus like Witch, Durandal Nibiru, like Heritage Museum, any of these cards plus access that gets you to 2-card iterations of the Uppercutter. But if you have no access to Uppercutter, it can still be the combo can still be obtained through like different means, which is really cool. But anyway, this is it. It's really nice having a 1-card combo. I do very well miss the Flame Swordsman stuff, but what really brought me away from it was the fact that when you're going first, you have essentially 5 cards. You need a 2nd card to combo, so you need starting with the Flame Swordsman, a 2nd card tuner to like combo, then you have 3 cards in your hand to pivot through disruption and stuff like that, and just not enough today's format. Also, when you're like going second and you're going into a board and you have to play through stuff and like holding your 1-card it's just 1-card combos are like unique, and I think they're like necessary for certain decks to be able, combo decks to be able to be okay. I'm not saying every deck needs a 1-card combo. I'm not saying like all good decks need 1-card combos, but having a 1-card combo does give you a competitive edge in this case of like the amount of non-engine and extenders that you can play. So anyway, that's it for the boxers. Moving on to the Infernobles, we have 1 of each of the names here. Shout out to them Tins for upgrading Turpin, but we still have no Malgus yet. And this is it, just 6 names for the Infernobles. I know that's I don't like it. I don't like it either, but it is what it is. They're all searchable by multiple means, and it's very consistent. At first, I would disagree with you guys on like this ratio, but then once I forced myself to try it, I really have grown to like it. If you're going to play any more than just the 6 names, I'd recommend playing more Renaults or possibly another O-Gear, because O-Gear just increases your chance. We all know the legendary, the strongest combo the deck has, not the strongest combo, but like the anti-nib combo of O-Gear and Renault. They just allow you to beat Nibiru, but with the amount of hand traps, you need to have like other things to like beat that. But it is nice that for a deck we do have an anti-Nibiru line. But that is it for the Infernobles. Moving on to like the rest of the cards, we're having 1 Flint Lady, the rest of the engine I should say, 1 Gearfried and 1 Diabelistar. Literally, Renault works with every card in your deck minus the Witch, which is insane. I would actually tell you guys, if you guys have seen all my other stuff, I always tell people you don't need the Wanted package. It's not necessary. It's a good engine, but it's not necessary for the deck to be played well. And I will die on the hill that that is true for the previous formats. But now that we're gone into like formats where like most decks are opening 2 or more hand traps, and the fact that Nib is seeing its way back into the meta because a lot of Omni Negators are now gone. I think that Witch is now needed more than ever in the deck because of its just ability to allow this deck to push through high impact hand traps and to push through hand traps in general. But again, the 1-card combo can be attained through Witch plus any way to Durandal, which is we have a total of 8 copies of Durandal in the deck. So with like, and then of course you have 4 copies of Witch. So like the probability and math is there. Moving on to the spell cards, the most busted card in the deck is 3 Museum, in my opinion. As long as Museum exists and Angelica exists, this deck shall be able to compete, in my opinion. But we do have 3 Museum, and then of course we have our 3 ways to search our Museum, which is 3 Heritage of the Chalice. Heritage can search is pivotal because Heritage is such a flexible card in the sense it can search you Museum, search you your equips, search you your noble names. So like every noble name that's a 1 of, you technically play 5 copies of it because Heritage plus Rhoda plus the noble name you're looking for, that's 5 copies of every noble name, which is really cool. And then this can search the Museum, so you're playing 6 copies of Museum, and you're technically playing 3 copies of each of the equips that you're playing, which speaking of equips, we have Joyous, Almus, and Durandal. Joyous is definitely the weakest one out of the group here, but Joyous definitely has its utility, especially in this combo and this like variant of the deck, because you don't really have to use Durandal at all in your combo sequence. Like whereas in the Flame Swordsman variant, you're most of the time using Durandal to grab Renault, so like you're exhausting the Durandal early. You're not having to do this here because another good thing about the Boxers is the Boxers bridge you into your Nobles, whereas like the Flame Swordsmans, they didn't. The Flame Swordsman just was strictly Flame Swordsman, but Uppercutter gets you into Nobles, which is a very cool little thing. But Joyous, normally being the weakest, does have its utility in the form of Extension, Recursion, and in the main combo line here that you're trying to achieve, you're going into Almus to grab the Joyous to grab back Gearfried, banishing the Joyous to summon Gearfried, and then in phase Charles picks up Almus. But if you guys watch any of the other Infernoble content creators such as Giant Franco or Crimson May Cry, and if I forget any of them, I apologize, but those are 2 that I kind of follow and keep up with. They play like 2 Museum and 2 of the equips because they don't play a 3rd equip and they don't play 3 Museums for their count. But I believe that Museum is a superior extender and an amazing card to have, and since it's not hard once per turn, you can bait hand traps and stuff, and I believe if you're going to play 3 Museums, or even 2 Museums at that matter, you almost need to play 3 equips, because if you open 1 equipped, your 2nd Museum in your deck is dead, and that's to me, in my opinion, that's like poor deck building. You're going to yeah, you should never see it, but if you do, you turn off one of the strongest cards in your deck, especially since you're likely to open multiple copies because you play 3 Museums and stuff. But anyway, again, you can get away with not playing Joyous, but I just really like the utility that Joyous brings. It's okay. It does make your worst hands. So Joyous is interesting because it's like a 50-50. It'll either make your bad hands worse or it'll make your bad hands better. Or there's like some situations where it just has, like I said, I've been sent through this entire video. If you guys want to play a game, just take a shot every time I say utility, and that'll be essentially Joyous adds decent utility. So anyway, that's it for these right here. Enough rambling about that. Moving on to the Wanted package, we have triple this and then 1 OSS. This engine's getting addressed for sure because for some reason Konami's decided to hit every Omni Negator we had, but it decided to print Omni Negator. So which in the next after Ridge of the Abyss, Rich will be like a 1-card Omni Negate, which is insane because you're going to be able to summon that Azima card, which is ridiculous. And that's just sad because if they didn't print those cards, I could say this could stay, but like since those cards will exist, it's more than likely that we'll see Wanted and Witch go to 1, in which case you still will rock 1 Witch and 1 Wanted. But it's just a sad thing that's probably going to be coming in the future. If we want Konami to be smart, and if like we're like, thinking positive, maybe Konami will hit the Omni Negate because that's what they've been doing, but I highly doubt it. But OSS is insane. This engine allows you to push through superior hand traps and stuff like that. Most of the time, if I see my 1-card combo plus Witch, I just hold Witch until like I get nibbed, and then I just push through it like it's nothing. So moving on here to the final engine, or not the final, we play 1 Rhoda, 1 Armored XYZ, and 1 Full Armored XYZ. So Rhoda is self-explanatory. We'll just get rid of this over here. Move to these 2. So this engine gets better post Rage of the Abyss because Armor gets replaced with an Equips card, and it just gives us a little bit, like a slightly little bit more synergy in the fact that Renault can add it back, Oliver can pitch and stuff like that. But for the most part, these are the cards you're searching off of your Full Armored Fortress, because this gives you the ability to XYZ on the opponent's turn into a Dark Knight Lancer, which if you're like into fanfic and stuff, like the fact that the Dark Knight Lancer is a water card, and like Charlemagne doesn't have like a Lancelot character, I believe in his lore, it kind of like lets us have one in a way, so it's kind of unique. And the fact that it's an XYZ kind of fits like the OG Noble Knights XYZ stuff, but Anyway, this just allows you to XYZ. In fact, there's actually like lines where if you open one of these cards, you're able to like go double Charles plus the ability to Baguska your opponent, which is like insane. Like, why just Baguska them on their turn? Skilled, it's literally flipping skill drain on them, which is like really awesome and stuff. But for the most part, this right here allows you to have like layered disruption because you search this, set it, and then if they Dark Ruler you, droplets you, through that you can flip this over and then make Dark Knight Lancer. And then it gives a good utility because Armored XYZ right here flows with your combo because it can trigger Angelica. And of course, like I said, when we get the equip will be grabbed and be able to trigger Angelica as well. But this right here also triggers Charles and Dark Knight Lancer because this banishes and equips, which, you know, is pretty crazy. The fact that off of one equip, you are able to non-target destroy and non-target attach is pretty wild. But I think this is an insane engine and huge, like I said, shout out to my comment section to allow me to try it because it's just 2 cards. So it technically makes the boxer package if I incorporate this engine together, a 6-card engine. Which is okay. And like I said, most notably, even if you're part of the unlucky 22% open both of these with boxer stuff, the boxer uppercutter is such a flexible 1-card combo that it's like, okay, well, uppercutter is going to still get you to Charles and SP, which is 3 disruptions off of 1 card. It's crazy. And you'll be able to trigger Angelica because you go Dempsey line anyway. So like this gets you full utility at the Armored XYZ, which is wild. But that is it for the engine, guys. Like I said, I've really enjoyed this. The testing has done well. If you guys have happened to miss that stuff, just catch us when we go live because I'll be testing this deck in the next coming weeks because I have a huge cash money tournament coming up. And then if you guys are members, you can go watch the live streams after they happen and you guys can see where I just play this deck on YuGiOh Omega Ladder and stuff. And it's just, as long as I don't misclick, we're doing good. Moving on to the non-engine, we are on to triple Ash Blossom, triple Impermanence, and then triple Nib. And I'm following the same suit. We're like one of the few decks out there that can put up Omni Negations, or like not Omni Negations, but like we are some of the few decks that can put up hard negations that stop Nibiru. And so some of the decks can't, so that's why we're playing Nibiru. But also, more importantly, we're playing Nibiru is because the 1-card combo is not really protected. It's not insulated through Nibiru. It kind of loses pretty hard. So I wanted to like play Nibiru in the sense of, since I am also playing triple Crossout here. Crossout literally can hit the Nibiru while still allow me to use Nibiru and use it as a defensive card. And same with Ash and Imperm. Like, there's just so many hand traps, we're not going to be able to answer them all, sadly. I'm sure if you wanted to take every one of these and play one of each and then play all these different hand traps, you arguably could have an answer to every hand trap as long as you didn't open any of them, right? You could play Mole Charming, you could play Shifter, you could play Effect Veiler, you could play them all, man. But Dominus Purge 2 now, I guess that card's a new hand trap. You could play them all, but instead, these are the most... Ash and Imperm are seen in almost every deck list, so it just allows you to have the versatility. If you draw Desert Cross out here, in addition to your 1 or 2 target combos, it just means like one of these hand traps are dead, and then Nibiru is just there, because like some people probably main it, some people probably side it, but I think this card right here, maining it, gives us a competitive edge in the sense of maining it along with Crossout. We get to use it, which opponents are not going to be able to stop, or set up negates to stop it, or cross out to be able to do it. And also, Ash and Imperm are very high impact together. Imperm by itself, Ash by itself, Nib by itself is decent enough. Will struggle against, like, if you're playing against a Fiendsmith matchup, but sometimes they have to, like, get greedy and you hit him with Nib, it's okay. But again, then you go Nib plus any of these, it almost guarantees the game. And like, there's some cool interaction, like especially if you're going second, Nib being able to summon itself, and then you can equip Durandal to Nib, and then, you know, do that way, move forward that way. It's pretty good. For the final 3 cards, it's like double Tactics and Call By. I enjoy Tactics. I think Tactics has favorites. In all my combo decks, Tactics is going to be there. Having the ability to look at the hands, especially now, so if you'd like open really well, like this deck can eat through hand traps of people hand trapping you since they don't know what your deck does. And that's another good thing to say. Like, my locals knows what my deck does, so like they know when to hand trap me. So another thing to like kind of like, I guess, like validate for you guys that the deck is still good, because like people knew where to hand trap me and I was still able to push through and play and go undefeated. So, but then when you play against like bigger tournaments where people don't know where to hand trap you, and they just start throwing hand traps at random stuff, and you're able to play through them. Tactics, being able to look at the hand and hand loop them for one more card is just really nice. And then sometimes drawing 2 is very nice, you know, stealing monsters. Tactics is just very flexible. Even though when I do go second, Tactics does come out, I just view it strictly as a going first card. And then, of course, if I do lose the dice roll and I'm forced to go second, it does have that utility to potentially steal something. But that is it for the non-engine. As you guys can see here, we have 15 non-engine. Which is quite a bit for this deck. The most non-engine I've ever played in a deck, I believe. Outside of Vanquish Soul. Even in Vanquish Soul, I played like 12 max. So this is the highest non-engine that we're playing. And it is performed really well. Like, I've been very pleased with this non-engine. This deck in general. Like, I truly do not think it would be like that crazy, but it does. The XYZ stuff gives you a little bit more, like, gives you a little more insulation before you make Angelica, because if the opponent doesn't know what you're doing, they're going to be like, detach off Armor Fortress, add 2. They're going to be like, add 2, that sounds pretty good, let's ash it. and then you're like, sweet, and you just move on with your day and make Angelica. And then there was something else that I wanted to bring up. Oh, so going second with the Boxer stuff has been one of like the downsides. It's one thing I really enjoyed about the Flame Swordsman variant, was the Flame Swordsman variant allowed us to play second if we lost a dice roll, whereas if we lost a dice roll with the Boxer stuff and we were able to go combo with Uppercutter and stuff, Spar actually says you don't get to have a battle phase to turn. So we lost the battle phase, and the only way we had to remove cards was by Charles and SP, and that's 2 cards trying to break a board. That's like not going to happen. So now with the armor stuff, you can solve 3 cards, which is it really great? But it's like it's better than just 2. Now you have 3. Non-targeting attach is still pretty strong. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. Move on over here into the extra deck. The King, the Emperor Charles himself. I'm just going to fly through this, guys, until we get to stuff. This is pretty standard in my opinion. I don't agree with playing one of these unless you're playing like a really heavy Flame Swordsman stuff. Then you can probably get it with one of it, but you should play 2 Charles because that's part of your inboard. Double Charles and Gear Free, that's pretty wild. Moving on, no point to go. I keep talking there. So the XYZs, we have the Dempsey. This card is insane. Armor Fortress and Dark Knight. So we'll talk about these guys real quick here. I usually really hated the 1-card combo that Boxer did because it just felt like you're not really getting mass utility out of Dempsey. I wish they really should have made the new Battle Box that came out with this card being able to smack on top of it. Truly, that's what they should have done, but Konami and all their wisdom decided to kind of crap on the Boxer support in the Fire set. But outside of getting like Uppercutter and Dempsey, there was like literally no other good cards. So Armor Fortress, you just normally, the standard 1-card combo is you detach, so you search Renaud, detach the Spar, special Renaud, add back Spar, special out the Spar. Well, then you have Dempsey just sitting there. Either use it for SP later, or it's just, sometimes it just sits there. So then you can smack this on top of it, detach search 2, and then during the opponent's turn, you can XYZ on top of it into armor. But sometimes you can just smack full armor on right on top of it, right off the get-go. And then if you do happen to open one of the 2 cards, like the full armor or the armored XYZ, we are playing the one Dugaris the Timeless, or I call him Douglas the Watchless. Douglas here allows you to utilize that because you still can smack on armored XYZ, but armored XYZ is interesting because you cannot use XYZ material if it has material itself, and you can search up to the number. So if you hard open one of your pieces and you smack this on here, you just detach the one and search the piece you're missing, and then you summon this still. Whereas if you didn't play Dugaris, you were forced to go Dempsey, you can only search 1. Dempsey will still have material beneath it, and then you smack this on here, and then you detach 1 to search the one you're missing, and you still have material underneath the Fortress, and the Fortress can't be used as XYZ material, so it's just kind of redundant. So that's why you play the Dugaris. The only thing is that it turns your 1-card combo into a 2-card combo. You just have to have access to a tuner, which is, it's okay. And then also, if you do have full access, Dugaris having the ability to draw 2 to get into side deck cards is really cool. The ability to double the attack, which allows you to push for game. For the last XYZ, it's called Plan B, which is Baguska. Baguska's here for in case we get drilled and we can't play through it, or in case we get shifted, we just go to Plan B and hope it's enough. So that's it for the XYZs. If you guys want to, do comment down below if you guys want me to like showcase like a more in-depth like combo video and more in-depth discussion and like certain interactions to get to this combo. So like, yeah, just comment down below for the links. 1 Enema, 1 Link Spider, shout out to the 10s for giving us 25th centuries. 1 Ferocious Flame Swordsman, this right here arguably could be Hida. I just haven't moved Hida back in, but it does boost attack of all warriors, which is kind of nice, which gives you that little bit extra damage in the long run. 1 SP Little Knight, part of the inboard sometimes because it's warrior. We get warrior locked, so God help us if this card ever gets touched, because there's not really a card that we could play to replace it. And last but not least, 1 Promethean, the Bestower of Flames. This card is also pretty cracked in the deck, especially like sometimes like that get turn 3, if you've already made Little Knight, you just link up into this and then do some crazy things. This card is like really good on the crackback. I found myself like it being a part of the inboard going first, but on the crackback, it's really insane. It just allows you to reborn back Charles if they've beat it, and then you can link into the second Charles. It can reborn back Gearfried, and then you just like smack it up here into your other link too, and then like all of a sudden you having 1 more disruption because you have access to a fire to link it off into. Sometimes if you open enough bodies and stuff, you can use like Charles pop the Promethean to get it out of here. You can use OSS to send this to get it out of here, so it's in the graveyard for you to trigger, because this card with interaction with Angelica is really wild. The fact that it doesn't have to destroy both, it can trigger your Angelica and then destroy your opponent's monster. Pretty crazy. Moving on to the side deck. Do apologize, I'm going to try and run through this because I know we've been here for like almost 20 minutes, so let's quickly run through this. So when I side deck going second, 13 cards go in, and then when I know I'm going first, 2 cards go in. Depending on maybe like 3 cards go in. But anyway, let's just go. So 3 Fenrir and 1 Rise Heart. So when I know I'm going second, I take out the Boxer package for this because Boxer says no battle phase. So this card right here, Fenrir, will get you to half your combo, which is level 4 Fire Warrior. Triple Droll and Lockbird. Droll's pretty strong in this format as well. This is pretty cool because this card also hurts us, so we can side it in post games 2 and games 3 to be able to be a cross-out target. Also the same can be said with any of these cards. All these cards can be sided in for like cross-out cards, which is pretty interesting. But double Lightning Storm, 1 Harpies, 3 Evenly, and then 1 Roland and 1 now, thanks to the 10 ultra rare Angelica's Angel Ring. So when you know you're going first, Angel Ring and possibly like Droll goes in just so like you can cross it out, worst case scenario. But these cards go in so like because you know the opponent will side in board breakers, and Angel Ring just allows the board to be like a breakable through like Dark Ruler or droplets. Even like so when I know I'm going second, all these cards go in. Matchup depending because I know it is Droll might stay out, but for the most part these 7, 8, 9, 10 these 11 cards are going in. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excuse me, these 10 cards are going in all the time right here, always going in, and then matchup depending Droll will go in. But yeah, so that is it for the main extra inside. I'm sorry like if I did miss some things and stuff like that. Ask questions down below if you guys want to see combos and stuff. Definitely comment. The engine has performed very well. I think they've only been like 2 hands or 1 true hand I opened unplayable, and it was last night or the other night at locals where I went undefeated. Was I opened literally double museum, 2 cross out, and it called by like I need a monster to play, and I didn't see a monster. And then in testing today, we went back to locals and we tested a lot. Got some really good quality testing. And I literally, the only bad hand I had was where I had Witch 2 tactics and just like kind of like garbage in a way. And I just really I had no combo. I needed him to hand trap OSS or hand trap the Witch with a monster so I could fire off tactics to draw 2. But the only hand trap he had was in perm, and tactics doesn't do nothing there. So, but 2 dead hand or 1 okay-ish hand, one bad hand and 1 dead hand ain't too terrible out of like 20 plus games, right? So, but yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember, you guys out there, stay safe, stay healthy. It's flu season, so make sure to wash your hands, all that fine stuff, you know. But anyway, guys, stay safe, stay healthy. Charles from Team COG signing out.